Welcome to Lobster Magnet's Review, the channel, the review. I'm here with my buddy gorogregoro to discuss the latest episode of My Hero Academia Season 2, Episode 10. And oh boy, was this an episode. This is I felt like I saw my
This is
little
like the
baby.
ultimate dessert episode. Just
Yeah,
like finally get like this huge moment of like action sequence. It was like
it was nonstop. The whole thing. It wasn't like a few cool gifts of action. It was like badass from start to beginning, full throttle, 10 out of 10, pushing it to 11, plus beyond, plus ultra. Oh my god! Like it was really nice because I don't know. All the other, not that like anything's been bad. My Hero Academia has had a great soundtrack, but this one felt like it was firing on all cylinders. This is where I feel like I've finally seen the series come of age.
yeah, I really love the struggle between the two characters during this fight and uh what it comes down to Medora, like how he's fighting him with like the finger flicks to get the ice away, and then having to reuse broken fingers
Oh
to
god,
to
yeah.
flick him back again.
The fact that he's just got this horrible limitation, and oh boy, believe me, there are consequences to the fact that like he's like his superpower is mutilating himself just to compete. But
He's
that is like what we love in a shonen protagonist. We love them to see them go beyond. We love to see them torture themselves. We love to see them break fingers and bones and arms and become flailing messes as they just go for one conviction, one ideal that they want to push beyond anything else. And he's like, if I'm willing to break my fingers, then you at least have the dignity of showing me some fire.
yeah. So that was kind of cool. How he got what's his name, Ice Fire guy to finally unleash his firepower. He says like, "Isn't that power yours, not your father's or whatever?" And
Yeah.
it made him just like to kind of realize he's his own person and he doesn't
He
have
may
to.
have his father's. He doesn't have to be defined by his father. He can do it for himself. And it's funny because
Yeah.
like on a surface level, it's like really dumb and childish. Of like oh, you're gonna be your own person. Oh, I don't like you, Dad. But like, it's an example of like taking something that's kind of dumb and like making it feel like it's the most important thing in the world. By giving enough gravitas and stakes that it feels that the most important thing in the universe is happening right here with Shoto's like and they did a really good job with the flashbacks too. That was like definitely improved upon the original manga of showing good old Endeavor being the abusive father that he is,
Yeah,
and
for
the
sure.
strain of the mother and how she has a breakdown and yeah, it was everything that was like lacking from before. It was emotional, and then Endeavor comes in and firing, and he finally looks as awesome as I thought he should look in the manga. Ah, you come, Shoto, and it's like you can be a hero. And then that little title card at the end, the episode title, Origin Shoto Totoroki, like really tastefully, and like this is the moment he became a hero. This is the moment where he rose beyond.
Yeah, this is his moment. This is uh his time for shining. I feel like this whole episode was just built around his his trauma and stuff. It was almost like you know Midora should never have won this fight. It should have been all about
No, no, it was
Tordo.
definitely a lopsided, and I'm very glad. Like in the manga, of course the anime follows the same thing. But like Midora loses that fight, but he brought out the best in someone else, and that is almost as heroic. And the fact that he showed his willing to like go toe to toe against someone he had no business fighting against.
Yeah, I mean, let's just face it. Like he has a superior quirks, like a superior mastery over the quirks, I should say. Um, but he just like chooses not to do it. He's basically Sasuke. He's like he has the level of genius, but there's the genius part of him that there's like a part of him that's holding his himself back from unleashing his full genius potential. It's just
No,
like
the
fear of using the quirk.
Well, it doesn't hurt well, you're not using his fire side was like part of his conviction. It was like I'm gonna stick it to the man. But now, his sort of emotional lesson is that like sticking it to the man doesn't necessarily mean like limiting yourself. It's being the best person he can be on his own terms.
He was afraid though of becoming like his father, and being someone that his mother like reviled and hated because he really loved his mother. I think it all stems from that basically, because his father is like he's such a piece of shit. He's just
Yeah,
like
he's not a nice guy. And the funniest thing about Endeavor, I kind of like Endeavor. He gets a little like he doesn't become like a major character, but he's like always one of those like side characters, like you get the sort of sense that like the big thing is like that he never sees that makes All Might number one and makes him number two is the fact that All Might isn't focused on like just being the strongest. It's generally about being empathetic and saving people with a smile, being personable, relieving people that everything's going to be okay. Basically, like there's this really famous image. I think it was Grant Morrison from a comic of Superman, where there's like there's this goth girl, and she's like about to commit suicide and jump off a building, and she's like crying, and then Superman comes up to her, comforts her, and says, "You're stronger than you think you are," and gives her a hug.
mm-hmm.
And that's like sort of one of the better Superman storylines. Like Superman's strength is that he comforts people, and his empathy. That he reinforces the greatness in other people and inspires them to be better.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of like what All Might does to other people. And in a way, we also see Deku Midora do it for Shoto, and that he inspires him, to take himself beyond and accept himself.
Yeah. Yeah. That's essentially what Deku did. He really inspired Shoto's his name, right?
Yeah, Shoto.
He inspired Shoto to just like accept his powers, all of them, even if he thinks that half of them are evil. He's sort of like it's his half. It's not anybody else's.
Yeah. It's not Endeavor, who's like obviously kind of a shitty person, and someone who sees like strength is just hitting things and doesn't like understand the comforting and the being a role model and a hero aspect of being a hero.
Can I just say I really like the flashback where it showed like all of Endeavor's like other children as well. Like you could tell like they were all sort of like failure experiments and endeavors. He's just like passing by all these other children he doesn't care about, and all he really cares is like Shoto, because he's like the perfect blend of his mother's quirk and his quirk.
Yeah, Endeavor's as much of a shitty fat dad that he doesn't give a shit. They didn't, the breeding didn't work quite right, so they can just wander around and do whatever the fuck they want. He doesn't give a shit. It's all about the Shoto. It was a good touch.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I wonder how many brothers and sisters Shoto has. It's like
he's got a decent amount. Although you want to hear something really interesting fan theory that's going on around?
What?
So there's this villain character named Dabi. He's a really cool design. I think I've shown him to you. He's got like burn marks under his eyes.
Spoilers alert.
What? Just mentioning that there's a character named Dabi?
Oh, there could be spoilers up ahead.
Well,
you're talking about it.
None of this is confirmed. What I'm about to get in, there's nothing like to confirm this.
Okay.
This is speculation, but there's a fan theory going around that Dabi is actually Shoto's brother and one of Endeavor's kids because he has fire powers.
Oh. Okay.
The Dabi in Japanese means cremation, so we don't know what his like real name is. What his Japanese real person name is.
Uh-huh.
So there is a possibility that he could be one of Endeavor's kids.
Okay.
Which would make sense, and it would be really, really powerful material if that happens later in the future. If like Shoto has to fight his older brother, and his older brother's like this evil, malicious fire guy.
That could be an interesting dynamic for sure.
Well, right now, Dabi's not a great character. He's a brilliant fucking character design, but he's like a nothing. He's an absolute. He is an empty glass, really cool empty glass that needs to be filled with substance. That hopefully will be filled with substance later on in the series.
All right.
But anyway,
here's a question about this fight that happened in the anime, though, for this episode. How does this compare to the final fight from the first season? All Might's fight.
I think it's better. All Might's fight was like maybe 3 minutes of really good animation. I mean, it's a great little piece, but I feel like this was like more longer and more consistently awesome and kept on building up.
I mean, I really love the Plus Ultra fight, you know, with
where it's like going beyond. I just have to hit more than 110%. I mean, don't get me wrong, that fight's great because it's basically showing All Might like going beyond his limits after we've been established that like he has weaknesses and the evil Nomu thing has his like hand stuck into like the part of his side that we know is damaged. So we're kind of like, oh god, All Might, no, you're hitting him in his weak point. Oh god.
Yeah.
And you know the fact that he's able to persevere over that, even though there are consequences where he like loses time, he can hold his muscle. But
exactly.
I feel like overall this was just like more bare knuckled, more raw, more. That was like 2 minutes of good animation. This was like 24 minutes of awesome stuff that build up into an even more awesome thing as they have an epic conclusion where their powers are maxed out and he is the fire hand and he uses the all for one super powered arm and then they strike and it's a huge thing that blows up the entire arena.
Yeah, I mean. That's pretty cool. I mean, it's like I don't know. I just really if I had to choose between the two, I'd still say the Plus Ultra fight because we got to we got to learn more about All Might's character so much more. Like we got to learn his strengths, his weaknesses. He got to teach Midora, and Midora, he sees him as like sort of like a father figure in some ways, and then when he sees his weak side, you see like Midora's trying harder. He wants to still be just like him, and All Might now he's had to live up to the image of not only his students but his pupil as well. And keep up that heroic persona and just power through this like the most difficult task ever to punch through this obstacle that was like bioengineered to defeat him. And I just love that. I thought it was
no, it is great, and I love the fact that you loved that. I mean, it is a great moment, but it still feels like first villain arcness, while this one feels much more mature. We've got like the Shoto backstory interwoven with like the action as it escalates. We've got the thing with Midora where it's like we know that he has a limit of like he can only use X amount of fingers, and then he uses his mouth to shoot off his thumb.
I love that. It was just like I was thinking he could just like flick his thumbs too, like this. He was saying, okay, he basically said he had 6 shots left because he used two of his fingers, right? So he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of those fingers left. He has to flick with his thumb. But he has these 2 thumbs that he could have,
well, he didn't think of it at the time that he'd be so fucking desperate that he was going to like bite his thumb to flick it. And then he uses it in his arm, he wrecks up his arm, and oh my god.
This fight was beautifully choreographed, I'll admit, but like I guess in terms of emotional impact, I still think the All Might is fight.
Really, you really think that's like better? Like this has like so much going for it.
It does. It really
the whole
does.
episode was just like cranked up to 10. It was beautiful him shooting the ice, and then Midora blasting through the ice. He's like, come on, come at me, bro, come at me. Show me why don't you use your fire side?
Yeah.
And the fact, like, Midoriya has this like terrible limit where he has to break his bones to fight. And this is the start of the foreshadowing of something we see, progress through the series, that like Midoriya hurts himself to become a hero. And, you can't like be a hero by breaking every fucking bone of your body every time you go to work.
Oh,
this isn't going to work in the long term. You got to think of something else, man.
It's like Midoriya will develop like arthritis, in a couple years, or like after like a couple days, and he'll have permanent like wrist and finger damage, nerve damage.
He'll just carpal tunnel. His fingers will be like.
He'll be like shaking like every time he like tries to, punch somebody. He'll
be like Rocky. How they always, you remember when we watched the Rocky movie marathon, and they always threatened that Rocky was going to be debilitated, but he'd always like fight his way through it.
Yes.
Rocky, you can't get another hit in your eye. You're going to lose your eye. Rocky, you can't fight. You're losing your coordination. Your nervous system's breaking down.
Yeah.
Rocky, you can't do it. He's going to kill you. And every other movie, it's always like they're talking about all the reasons why Rocky should never fight again, because it's, a horrible mutilation of his body.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing how Endeavor and what's his name, to keep on forgetting it, the ice fire guy, Shoto interact after this battle. Like, obviously Endeavor's like so super proud of him, but how is Shoto gonna react to this, new praise from his father? Is he gonna like still hate himself, or is he gonna just like is he just gonna be like, fuck you, dad, or be like, okay, I'm sort of on board a little bit, I'm gonna become the best?
Well, you'll see. Oh man, the only problem though is like, I think for the sports festival, there's like one other really cool fight that's in the sports festival, but like none of them, the rest of them really kind of live up to this.
Oh yeah, there's still more fights to come, isn't there? There's
Yeah. So this wasn't the end of the tournament. There's still some more shit to be seen.
They must be at like the quarterfinals now, or like the semifinals.
Yeah, they finished up the tier 1. This was the first fight of like the second tier, I guess the quarterfinals.
Okay. It should be interesting to see what happens. Yeah, looking forward to it. Oh,
good episode. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. I think we're gonna see.
It was a pretty good episode. I'd say 10 out of 10 too.
This is a definitive point. We're gonna be seeing like a shit ton more My Hero Academia cosplay at this point. I think we're gonna it's gonna explode.
This was like almost, I would say almost close to Gara Rock Lee fight.
Yeah. This felt like the My Hero Academia equivalent of the Gara Rock Lee. Like, I like the Gara Rock Lee a little bit better because
yeah, me too.
I think there's an emotional component to the Gara Rock Lee that like I've seen very rarely matched in other shonen manga, and that'll always be like struck to my hearts. Like I can identify with more of like the person who knows he's shitty but just keeps on going and keeps on pushing and keeps on going harder and harder, even though he knows that the world, within the world standards, like he will never match up, but he just keeps on going.
Yeah,
I love it. I love that fight so much. The little learning disabled ninja just gonna punch his way out of a foe he could never win against.
And it's like with those fights, like in Naruto, you just don't know what to expect a lot of the time.
And the fact that like it ends with this very tragic point where at that point they say like Rock Lee's never gonna become a ninja. He's never gonna fulfill his dreams. He's lost it at this point.
Yeah.
That was such a gut punch, emotional roller coaster. I fucking love that. I love it when people take chances.
And it's like they have two really clashing ideologies. One is just like a murderous like sociopath or whatever, and the other is just like a super honest, earnest,
Yeah.
hardworking individual who just wants to prove that he can still be a ninja with taijutsu. Like such like clashing ideologies, like so different ideologies.
You don't. I mean, Midora is the underdog, and you could say that he's similar to Rock Lee and that he has to like kill himself, but it doesn't really feel. It feels like a much fairer fight than Rock Lee's versus Gaara's.
Oh, the goals for each of them are pretty much the same. They want to become the best hero. Well, it's like they come from very different backgrounds. Well, that is interesting in itself. But their goals are essentially the same, and they have fairly straightforward powers where they have creative use for those powers. But in terms of like a ninja fight, you never know a lot of the time how a ninja fight is gonna go down necessarily.
Gaara had like a lot of fun sand powers. Rock Lee just like had good old fashioned taijutsu, and then there was the like breaking the gates open moment.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so good.
I mean, no one expects the gates moment.
You could say that like there is a little bit of overlap in the sense that the gates like severely damages Rock Lee, just like how Midora damages himself.
Yeah.
That's sort of like shonen grit that we love, where they're just gritting their teeth, blood's coming out, but they're gonna go beyond. They're gonna go. This is such a good episode. But I don't know. This feels like this is the one that could push it. Like My Hero Academia has been like struggling, fighting its way to get to that like big three position to like stand alongside heroically of One Piece, and I feel like this is the like point where it's like on that throne.
I don't doubt it, because right now, who's gonna challenge Boku no Hero?
I don't know, man. Black Clover.
I don't even know Black Clover at all.
It's like a really generic looking manga that's been running for a decent amount of time. World Trigger. Fucking World Trigger. I don't even know.
Sword Art Online, the manga.
No, it doesn't really. One, it's not published in show.
Isaac, you're breaking
jump
up.
And if you classify.
Isaac,
can you hear me now?
You broke up a little bit, but yeah, I can hear you now.
That's fine. I don't really know who could like challenge. Because like. I don't know if Fairy Tail ever ascended to Big Three status, but Fairy Tail was always like strong running. But it's animated adaptation, kind of like cut off here and there at times.
I don't ever see Fairy Tail as a contender.
Well, Fairy Tail's not a very good series. It's a poor man's One Piece, but there's no denying it's had a big impact. It's a very popular series, very successful. Had a
maybe
bunch of movies.
Tokyo Ghoul would be a contender.
No, like. Tokyo Ghoul, like, there's 2 seasons of the anime. It deviates from the manga. Like, there's a lot of Tokyo Ghoul fandom, but I feel like it's kind of like a flash in the pan. And I think it's also considered technically a seinen series.
Oh, okay.
Maybe you could say the slot of the big three has been taken up by Dragon Ball Super, because it feels like people are following that, and there's like a lot of excitement over that, whether or not that's warranted, because it has a lot of the same flaws as like a long-running Toei animation show, only it's not based on a manga anymore, which is weird.
I don't know.
Filler, but I think from here on, this is like when we see it ascend to the throne, and it's a good episode. What would you give it?
Yeah, 10 out of 10. This is good, really good.
I still can't believe you like the Nomu fight better. I mean, like that fight was like broken up with like there was like maybe 4 minutes of good animation. This was like consistently the entire fucking thing.
Yeah, but there was like a lot of emotion behind the fight as well. It's just like a lot of
Do you think there was emotion here?
I'm sure there was. There was a great amount of emotion, but like I think this was like the culmination of, feelings built up throughout the whole season, throughout that whole season, ever since Midora and All Might first met.
So I guess you could say that that's a little bit more built up. I mean, this has been built up, but there's generally, I'd say, like, audiences have more invested in All Might than Shoto, or at least they should be.
Mm. Okay. Maybe.
Because who do you like better, All Might or Shoto? On some level, Shoto is like the perfect anime character. He's got like an angsty backstory. He's got a cool, slick design. He's got like the Zuko scar and the half white hair, half red hair. He's like as anime as you can get.
I mean, he's cool and all, but sometimes it's a little bit hard to relate to him because he just seems like perfect, like in terms of like his abilities. You know, it's more easy to relate to someone like Midora or.
Yeah, that's true. Because Midori's like, he's got the sort of underdog factor in that he didn't have a quirk, and the quirk he has, like, hurts him a lot to use.
Right. Or like,
he literally mutilates himself to use his superpowers, which of course I love.
Even All Might, I can sort of understand All Might's perspective as well, because he's like hurting inside, but he wants to, he still has, a lot of pride in him, wants to keep up some persona that he still has this strength of still being the best hero and whatnot. And yeah,
well,
I think that connects with a lot of people in general.
There's something inherently sad about All Might in the sense that, like, he's a hero on the decline. He should really be retiring. He should be giving up, but he just doesn't have it in him to do that.
Yeah, which is, it's really inspiring in a lot of ways,
if there's a cat in a tree and he can get in that tree, he's going to try to get that fucking tree. Even if that tree is like 20, 30 feet tall and, he's got a broken arm, he's still going to try and get that cat out of the tree. Even if he breaks his neck or his, like, thing falling down.
Yeah. And, him showing that side of weakness to Midora was like a really great move on this series part. It's just adds a lot of dimension to his character, I think.
It's definitely the moment when I was reading the pilot where the series went from like, oh, this is kind of cute and interesting, to like, oh wow, there's something special going on here.
Yeah, definitely.
There's something interesting. This is a really interesting dichotomy. I really want to know what's gonna go on with this. So that is definitely like a great moment. But yeah, it was a really good episode. So any final thoughts before we end this video?
Not that I can think of. Very good.
10 out of 10. Go watch it. Watch it again. Go cry. Jump on the My Hero Academia hype train before people are like, before people get sick of it like they did with Naruto, and like, oh no, they're a Akatsuki cloak.
Yeah.
Man, that's like what like Hirokoshi needs to introduce, like some sort of Akatsuki like piece of paraphernalia that can like is easy to cosplay and like you can just wear it at any con.
I mean, this is what Boku no Hero did. They have these like jumpsuits for the.
I don't fucking like. I don't like those jumpsuits.
You're gonna see a whole bunch of jumpsuits. I swear to God.
You're right. You do see jumpsuits because they're easy, but they're not good. They're not like. It's not cool to wear a fucking UA jumpsuit.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not, Greg. No, it's not. Like
people are gonna be cosplaying in UA jumpsuits. You know it.
Yeah, they are. I've already seen it in place. Oh, 1 second. Yeah. Who? Okay, 1 second. All right, so I think it's that. Let's end the video, and I'll be back in like 5 minutes.
All right, see you then.
All right.